Happening now, Jamestown police investigators are making strides in identifying a murder suspect, plus why local firefighters are stressing the importance of knowing when to dial 911.
Well, those winds are going to be howling out there through the afternoon hours, but then the snow returns. We'll talk about it in detail next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Police investigators in Jamestown say they're close to identifying the suspect accused of shooting and killing a 46-year-old man back in October. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. City of Jamestown Police announced the news on social media, asking for the public to come forward with any additional tips that could help their case. Jamestown police say 46-year-old Angel Pacheco was shot in the front yard of his house at 60 Water Street around 8:40 on Tuesday, October 19th. Now, scanner reports indicate he was unresponsive when emergency crews first arrived on scene. He was then taken from that scene to UPMC Chautauqua Hospital, where he later died as a result of his injuries. In Sunday's update, police say they have a strong person of interest in that case and believe that the weapon used in the shooting was passed on to others not directly related to the shooting. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of the weapon or who may have possessed it after the shooting is asked to contact the department via their anonymous tips line at 716-483-TIPS. And a man who barricaded himself inside of a Jamestown home last year has been indicted on assault charges. 34-year-old Silk Spencer has pled not guilty to 2 counts of assault with intent to cause physical harm following his first appearance in Chautauqua County Court last month. Spencer was wanted in connection with an alleged stabbing earlier in the year when he barricaded himself inside of the basement of a Colden Place home on May 10th. Police say as officers approached the house, Spencer fled and barricaded himself inside. During the standoff, it's alleged Spencer threatened to kill the responding officers there. After a nearly 2-hour standoff, he turned himself in without incident. A weekend fire first spotted by police on patrol is now believed to be an accident. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Fire Investigation Team announced the ruling today. Crews were called to a Town Line Road home on Sunday afternoon after police noticed the house's fire alarm was sounding. Officers located a small fire inside the home and tried to extinguish the flames, but were unable to do so. The Fluvanna Fire Department then responded and knocked down the blaze. Naturally combustible oil soaked in rags inside of the bucket likely started the fire. Well, lawmakers in Jamestown will further their discussion on the city's plan to spend the American Rescue Act funding tonight. Of the $28 million the municipality received, 3.7% will be allocated to cover lost revenue, and that is in the spotlight. Mayor Eddie Sundquist spent several months earlier this year petitioning for public feedback about where the money should be spent. He formally unveiled his plan for the money back in July. In the end, he tells us the funding isn't meant to linger, and that's why the council should act now.
This was meant so that we could use funding to help expand businesses. This was meant so that we can help increase our mental health needs. This was meant for us to respond to the pandemic. And the longer we wait, the harder it is to start to get these programs out.
The lawmaking group will meet starting at 6:45 for their committee meetings tonight. The full council is expected to start discussions at 7 o'clock in the third floor conference room at City Hall. Well, the Jamestown Fire Department is clarifying what is an emergency as the number of non-emergent 911 calls in our area spike. Our Alana Wingate joins us live in studio with more on the department's message. Alana?
Justin, the department sounded the alarm today about what qualifies for an emergency response. Over the past several months, fire prevention officer and EMS supervisor Rob Smith tells us they have received unticked in calls for things like a scraped knee, sprained ankle, or even just needing a ride. These unurgent calls cause delays.
The Jamestown Fire Department, right now, we only have one ambulance. So when that ambulance goes on a call that may or may not be a life-threatening emergency, that's one less ambulance that's available in case there's another real emergency.
The department is required by law to respond to medical calls no matter the severity.
But whether or not it's an actual emergency becomes a little bit subjective. To us, it might not seem to be as serious of a call, but to the person calling, it may be very serious. And that's why we don't want to keep people from calling 911 if they feel that they need us. Please call us.
In addition to the non-emergent calls, the department has seen a major increase in call volume with 7,000 calls so far this year compared to 6,400 in 2020 and 5,800 in 2019.
But especially right now with COVID going on, we are taking a lot of people to the hospital. So what we wanted to do is just kind of remind the public, when do you call 911? When do you not call 911? A lot of times the emergency calls for service that we receive really could be something that could be handled at your doctor's office.
Should you or anyone you know experience trouble breathing, loss of consciousness, symptoms of heart attack or stroke, or things like nonstop bleeding, Smith says they should call for immediate help. Back to you, Justin.
Yeah, it's such an interesting story here because you'd think that most people would know, okay, this is an emergency, this is not an emergency. Do you know why we've seen this uptick where if somebody, say, just wants a ride to the hospital?
Well, according to Rob, people think that if they call an ambulance, they'll be seen quicker in the hospital and they'll get rooms faster, which is apparently not the case at all. The waiting time can be equal or even more, actually, depending on who you ride with.
Yeah, so interesting. Thank you for that, and thanks to JFD for clarifying that. We appreciate that, Alana. And we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments down below for those of you who are watching us here on Facebook Live. It's great to see Wendy. Great afternoon to Steve, Scott, Pam, and Aaron. Hello to all of you. We appreciate you for joining us today. And we remind you, if you haven't downloaded our Roku app already, please do. It's channel 716 on Roku. And we thank those of you who are watching us live and on demand, streaming anywhere, anytime. Well, a big story of the day today is that weather forecast, and really, though, winds. If you were up late last night, you probably heard them. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live now, and it's still pretty wet and rainy out there.
Yes, it is. The good thing is it's still liquid, but we all know what's going to be coming later on today. Let's take a look at the Randolph Beaches and Cream Sky Cam. You can actually see the wetness there at Wheaton Park. 50 with a southwest wind of 13, and the winds are going to continue to increase through the day. So there's those band of rain showers. This is ahead of the cold front. So the cold front has actually started to move on through now. So temperatures through the day are going to be dropping all the way through the lower 30s. But the wind really is the story. So a high wind warning is in place for Chautauqua County. That goes until 7 o'clock tonight, also with a lakeshore flood advisory for some of those waves on Lake Erie could cause some lakeshore flooding, and a wind advisory for the rest of Western New York and the southern tier. The high today was 48. That occurred just a few hours ago. 71 and 2 are the record highs and lows. So through the afternoon, we're going to fall through the 30s. 30 to 36 is where we're going to end the day. Strong winds redevelop. Rain shifts to snow with a northwest wind. Actually, that should be a southwest wind, 15 to 35 with some gusts around 50 to 60 miles an hour. But we'll see some lake snow returning as we go into tomorrow. We'll talk about it in detail, that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. So stay with us.
Well, U.S. health officials said Sunday that while the Omicron variant of coronavirus is rapidly spreading throughout the country, early indications suggest it may be less dangerous than Delta, which continues to drive a surge of hospitalizations. The variant has been detected in about a third of U.S. states on Sunday, including the Northeast, the South, the Great Plains, and the West Coast. Wisconsin, Missouri, and Louisiana were among the latest states to now confirm cases over the weekend. But Delta remains the dominant strain, making up more than 99% of cases and driving a surge in hospitalizations here in the north. National Guard teams have been sent to help overwhelmed hospitals in western New York. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, telling CNN's State of the Union that scientists need more information before drawing conclusions about the severity. Reports from South Africa, where it emerged and is becoming the dominant strain, suggest that hospitalization rates might not be increased in such an alarming way.
Thus far, though it's too early to really make any definitive statements about it, thus far it does not look like there's a great degree of severity to it, but we really got to be careful before we make any determinations that it is less severe or really doesn't cause any severe illness comparable to Delta. But thus far, the signals are a bit encouraging regarding the severity. But again, you got to hold judgment until we get more experience.
Now, officials continued to urge people to get vaccinated and receive their booster shot, as well as take precautions like wearing a mask when among strangers indoors, saying anything that helps protect against Delta will also protect against other variants. Well, as we continue our coverage on COVID-19, scheduling an appointment for your vaccine is harder for some people. Some places are showing the next availability for a vaccination appointment. Even that booster shot isn't available until the end of the month. Erie News Now's Keelan Berrien explains.
The COVID-19 pandemic brings protests,
I didn't sign up to co-parent Kathy Dahlkemper.
enforced mandates,
Stepping over the bounds.
and many lost lives. New COVID variants continues to emerge. However, vaccines bring some light to the dark, and people are having a hard time scheduling appointments for their shots, like Molly Gustafson.
December 30th.
Really?
Yeah.
She's a student teacher and tried getting her booster shot from Wegmans, CVS, and other retail pharmacies. Once she heard Lecom was having a vaccine clinic, she drove 45 minutes from New York to get her shot.
It was kind of shocking. Like, you'd think, like, they would want us to get the vaccine so they would have appointments.
So I tried to schedule an appointment myself. On the Walgreens website, I gave all the necessary information and at the end, wasn't able to schedule an appointment. On Rite Aid's website, you see the next available time is Thursday, December 9th. Over at Lecom, appointments are available anytime.
And then we also have a slot for, hey, you know what? I have 20 minutes. I'm going to go get my COVID shot. And you can walk in the door, unannounced, register, and that's how we adapted.
You can also text the number 438-829. A reply with available sites will come to your phone, along with the vaccine types.
There is a limited, I guess, bandwidth that each vaccine provider does have, and that may lead to, filling up the appointment slots that are available at your mom and pop, drugstores, your chain pharmacies, or some of these hospital-based clinics that the health systems have.
Keelan Berrien, Erie News Now.
Coming up, the latest calls for the head of Suny schools here in New York to resign. And later, Dakota joins us once again with info on when this rain will be turning over to snow. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now.
Hi, I'm Al Steffens, owner of Chautauqua Comics. For the last 28 years, we have been your premier retailer of comic books. But we have so much more.
Located at 214 Fairmount Avenue in Jamestown, the shelves are stocked with everything from superhero to classic G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Looking for Pokemon? Chautauqua Comics has it all.
If you have any questions, stop in today or give us a call. Chautauqua Comics, Al speaking.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
What could you lose in a home fire? Your possessions? Your home? Your memories? Don't let your world go up in smoke. Make sure you have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones, because fire is everyone's fight.
This message was brought to you by the Jamestown Fire Department and the Chautauqua Safety Village.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Suny students and faculty are calling for the immediate resignation of Chancellor for the State University of New York. In a press release, the State Student University Assembly and Faculty Council of Community Colleges say the recent materials released by the Attorney General's independent investigation into sexual harassment allegations against former Governor Cuomo, revealing disturbing text messages written by Chancellor Jim Malatras about a female coworker. Students and faculty say Malatras, along with other top aides of Governor Cuomo, fostered a toxic workplace environment by participating in a scheme to discredit a colleague's reputation in order to undermine her credibility. In a press release, they went on to say, in August 2020, the Suny Board of Trustees appointed Malatras as the chancellor without a national search against the objections of faculty and council here in New York. Well, CNN Primetime host Chris Cuomo has been terminated by CNN. The move came following an investigation by the New York AG, which shed more light on his actions while defending his brother, the former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, against sexual misconduct allegations. CNN made the announcement over their public relations Twitter page. The statement reads in part, quote, "We retained a respected law firm to conduct the review and have terminated him effective immediately." Chris Cuomo responded to the termination saying in part, quote, "This is not how I want my time at CNN to end, but I have already told you why and how I helped my brother." Cuomo thanked his team at Primetime Live and praised the work they did on the show. Jeff Zucker, chairman of CNN's parent entity Warner Media, said in a news statement that these decisions are not easy and there are a lot of complex factors involved. Well, after the Supreme Court heard one of the biggest abortion cases in our generation, many are left wondering if the ruling on Roe v. Wade, which challenges abortions, will finally get overturned. As Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports, there's now a push at the Capitol to pass legislation that would keep abortions legal if Roe is overturned.
Pro-life and pro-choice crowds gathered at the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court heard arguments on a Mississippi law that prevents abortions past 15 weeks. The Mississippi law threatens the 1973 ruling of Roe v. Wade, which allows abortions nationwide. And people in favor of overturning Roe believe this is the case that can do it.
There's now a renewed push in Congress to keep abortions legal, but chances of passing that legislation look slim.
A few months ago, the House narrowly passed the Women's Health Protection Act, which codifies abortion rights nationally. Congressman Mike Kelly, who is anti-abortion, says this issue shouldn't be left up to the courts or Congress.
And Roe versus Wade, and now I'm hearing this, well, this is going to get overturned or that's going to go. No, the idea is, does it go back to the states or not? I think that's where it rests. I think that's where it should rest.
But Senator Kirsten Gillibrand thinks otherwise, saying in part your reproductive freedom shouldn't depend on the state you live in, and is in favor of passing legislation to keep abortion legal. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the Senate will vote on this legislation to protect abortion rights. However, the Senate Democrats might not have the numbers to pass this. The Dems have a 50-50 majority and need 60 votes to defeat a probable Republican filibuster. We asked Senator Bob Casey where he would vote on this legislation. A spokesperson said he is reviewing the briefs and the arguments in the recent Mississippi case, and he continues to consider the Women's Health Protection Act. As for this Mississippi case being considered under the Supreme Court, it could be until next summer before justices make a decision. At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Well, back here at home, the city of Jamestown celebrated the holiday season with a downtown parade on Saturday night. Organized by Collaborative Children's Solutions, the parade kicked off with co-grand marshals Jamestown Police Officer Mark Conklin and Jackie Martin Albin leading the way. The two were honored for their life-saving actions earlier this year when Conklin helped rescue a family from a burning house fire. In a separate incident, Martin Albin is credited with reviving an unconscious baby. Thousands took part in both the ceremonial tree lighting and parade, with dozens of community groups coming together to build various floats and the jolly man himself, Santa Claus, making an appearance. Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist says, in the end, it's all about the kids.
I get the honor of being able to walk in the parade with others, but what I like to do the most is to do high fives and to just talk to some of our kids, our families that are here. That's the best part of this.
In addition, several events to collect toys and raise awareness for the county's Toys for Tots campaign also took place. You can watch the full parade if you missed it live on channel 716 on Roku. Certainly it was really an incredible night, and it was great to be able to take part in such a great tradition here in Jamestown. Let us know what you think about this story and more in the comments down below as we kick off a new week. Great to see Margaret, good to see Melissa, Christine, Natalie, Angel, and Scott. Hopefully you all are having a wonderful day. We appreciate you tuning in to WNY News Now. And Mr. Hunter, I missed you at the parade on Saturday, but I know next year it should be even bigger and better than it was in years past. I got a chance to watch the parade footage over again. Really proud with our team, everybody behind the scenes being able to put that on. And as you know, there's a lot of moving parts in the background that people don't see. And I think it's important, you know, our producers, our camera folks, control room directors back here in the studio, piecing it all together, and it was good to see you. They kind of surprised me with that. I wasn't fully expecting to see Dakota, and all of a sudden I read in my script, I'm like, tossed to Dakota for weather. I'm like, yay, he's here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I filmed that earlier in the day on Saturday because I wanted to make sure the forecast was fresh for the parade, and I was watching the parade on you know, channel 716 on my TV while eating my chicken and donut sandwich, which was my dinner on
chicken
Saturday
and
night.
donuts, a Hunter House staple.
Hey, don't knock it until you try it.
No.
Speaking of knocking, let's take a look at the winds. The peak wind gust so far at the Jamestown Airport today is 22 miles an hour. That's the current wind gust right now at the airport as a noon hour, but it's going to get a lot windier as we go through the afternoon. So a live look outside from the HD News Now cam shows you clouds and rain. 46. This is down from our high, which is 48, a west wind of 15, and there's that wind gust of 22, and it's going to get much stronger as we go through the day today. So as we mentioned earlier, there is a high wind warning in place for Chautauqua County. This goes until 7 o'clock, along with a lakeshore flood advisory. Again, that is right near the Lake Erie shoreline. The potential with these winds could cause some minor lakeshore flooding, and a wind advisory for the west, for the rest, that is so hard to say, for the rest of the southern tier in western New York. So on the trash can window meter, if you have trash pickup tomorrow morning, you're probably going to be looking for your garbage can. It's going to be down the street somewhere. It's not going to be in your yard where it should be. So the current look at First Defense Doppler radar shows you this line of showers that are moving on through. This is the cold front, that line of heavier rain between Centerville, Pennsylvania to East Aurora. That's the cold front. So the front is starting to move on through. So temperatures are going to continue to drop through the afternoon hours today. And even though on the satellite and radar composite, the cold front is still back to our west, but the front's moving through now. This map will update at 1 o'clock. So at which point we'll see the cold front officially moving on through. But notice behind the front, they've got some lake effects. So on the News Runner Future Scan, shows you the rain to snow showers transition as the cold front moves through. Colder air filters in tonight. Guess what the snow is? It's lake effect. Yeah, the cold air rushes across that relatively warm water of Lake Erie, will generate some bands of lake effect snow overnight through the day tomorrow. And there's going to be some accumulation out of this. But again, it's nothing we can't handle. It's going to be typical snowfall for us. So this is the model snowfall output. I do think this model goes a little high in some spots, but it's giving you the general idea of about 2 to maybe 4 or 5 inches of snow through at least Wednesday morning. So again, this is nothing we can't handle, but it will bring back some of the snow. Now, the future is flying up on the stream, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. 1 to 3 inches of snow through the day tomorrow. Tapers off for Wednesday, a few snow showers, but cold. Highs go into the upper 20s for both Tuesday and Wednesday. Mostly cloudy Thursday. Friday, a few rain showers. Should be up into the lower 50s by next Saturday with a few rain showers and then an isolated rain or snow shower next Sunday. We'll take a break and be right back.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now.
Welcome back. The Better Business Bureau says shop safe and shop smart this holiday season. In their latest report, the group explains product shortages and increased online shopping have resulted in more online purchase scams. WENY's Marcia Augustin explains.
As online shopping becomes more prevalent, so does virtual shopping scams. The BBB says they are seeing a huge increase in the amount of online scams this year. In New York State, nearly 1,000, and warned consumers, do your research before hitting that checkout button.
Fake websites, the fake social media ads. This is where people are losing money.
Melanie McGovern, communications director with the Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York, says 4 of 5 scams being reported are online purchases, and it's resulting in millions of losses.
For this year, we've had over 16,000 reports on Scam Tracker of online purchase scams, and the median, or the total loss, not the median loss, the total loss is over $8 million.
Melanie says that number is expected to trend upward through the holiday season. That's why they issued this latest study, how to avoid online purchase scams, from misleading ads to hot toy scams to fake pet scams.
Don't believe everything you see on social media, and just because it's a paid ad doesn't mean it's a legitimate company.
Melanie says there's ways to avoid fake deals when shopping online. Number 1 is education. If it's too good to be true, then it usually is.
If there's an item that is sold out with every national retailer, there's a really good chance that what you're seeing isn't real.
Number 2, do your homework. Research the company you plan to buy from thoroughly. Melanie says it's important to take the time to check and do your due diligence.
Take that website off of the social media, go to a search engine, search for the website with the word scam, fraud, review, things like that to see what other people are saying about it.
And number 3, avoid impulse buying. One thing scammers are relying on, she says, are supply chain delays.
So you want to make sure you're asking those types of questions. Again, if you do get in touch with customer service, like what are the shipping delays? Which carrier do you use? So that you can track it and keep track of it.
Melanie added, Nick, she encourages people to report scams to the BBB through their scam tracker online, or call them if you have any questions about a company. I'll have all this information as well as more tips Melanie shared on how to shop safer online during the holidays at WNY.com.
News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this live look over Randolph. Stay dry and warm. We're back here tomorrow at noon. Hope to see you then.